Hello, this is Ellen Madono, and I'm speaking to you from my office in Tokyo. How to use a remedy, assuming you have never used them or you're not sure how to use them, how to evaluate them. When you buy a remedy, it comes in a little bottle like something like this and with pellets. The pellets have various sizes. These pellets you can take all by themselves. There's no problem with that. But actually a better way to use them is to put the pellet in water and let the energy of the pellet transfer to the water, because this will make a bigger impact on your energy system. First, I'm going to explain to you how you make what we call a dilution bottle. You have a clean bottle which you're going to fill halfway up with water. The water should be clean. It doesn't have to be distilled, but it can be boiled or the cleanest water you can get. In a hurry, you just use tap water. And then you add 2 or 3 pellets of the remedy to the bottle. I always add 2 or 3 just in case one pellet was not sufficiently medicated when it was made, but that has never happened to me. I think it's unlikely. Then I tape a label onto the bottle. Make sure you have a bottle that has a good strong cap so that you don't risk spilling the contents from the bottle. Finally, you place a throwaway cup on the top of the bottle. And the reason for this is remedies tend to stick to lots of things. And you don't want your household cups to be treated with the remedy, because everyone in your household doesn't necessarily want to take the remedy that you are taking or someone else is taking. Often I use a PET bottle because they have good strong tops, and it's very important that this gets filled up to the halfway point of the bottle. And no matter what the size of the bottle is, you have slightly bigger PET bottles for drinking and very small PET bottles for drinking, somewhere in that neighborhood. If you get a bottle that is too big, a gallon bottle or a liter bottle, I'm afraid that the remedy might not have a very strong effect on you. So, you want to have a bottle that's small enough. It's not like you don't want to have it so diluted that it doesn't have an effect. Then you place a label on it, on the bottle. I always tape it on and have a throwaway cup that I place on the top. This way, everything is together. Everything you're going to need is there, and so you're not spending a lot of time looking for the things you need to take a remedy. Now, people in my household are very short-tempered, and they do things like drink their remedy from the bottle or from the cap. I know they're short-tempered, so I let them do this, but you're getting bacteria into the bottle. If you're going to use this bottle for several months, that's not a very good idea. But if you're just going to be using it for a few days because of some injury you had or something that's very temporary, then this kind of thing doesn't matter. So to review, you get a bottle. This bottle happens to be glass. And this is very important that you have a glass bottle when you're making the remedy. When you're using the bottle temporarily just for yourself, you're not making a remedy really. So the glass bottle isn't all that essential. And the size is not very specific. But it's important that it's half filled with water. Not up to this line here, but half filled. After you've put the remedy in the bottle, then next you succuss it or you shake it. You pound the bottom of the bottle. Pound the bottle on something harder. I wouldn't pound on my hand just because you might injure your hand unless you're very strong. You can then get a glass of water and either pour a little bit of the remedy into the water or use a spoon, whatever, to get a small amount into the glass of water, and then drink the glass of water. Now, I have shortcuts. I give my patients sometimes these kinds of cheap, handy plastic bottles so they can just squirt it in their mouth. and one of my patients started using a spray bottle. That works fine. But there's one step that I want you not to forget, and that's that you should have water in your mouth when you do this spraying or squirting remedy into your mouth. This is not the same as taking medicines from the doctor with water. It's more because of the way the energy quickly transfers to water. Homeopathic energy transfers to water. It transfers quickly to alcohol. So part of the remedy making process uses alcohol. And we give you remedies on a pellet of sugar. Not because the sugar has any medicinal quality, but more because sugar, like water and alcohol, absorbs the energy of the remedy very quickly and easily. Another substance that absorbs the energy of the water is glass. Now, this is kind of curious. I mean, apparently the idea that glass is a liquid and it's thicker at the bottom of a window, I looked on the web, and people contest this, that the glass is actually flowing downward. But at least when you make glass, or when glass is found after a fire, it has melted like this. It very quickly becomes like a liquid. And all of these things are easily liquefied. And you don't use your family glassware for remedies unless you're going to put it in something like the microwave to clean off the energy, because it will transfer to the glass. The energy of the remedy will transfer to the glass. Now, why would you want to put water into your mouth before you do the spraying? Why would you want to do that? It has to do with the nature of the cells in our mouth. The skin inside your mouth and the skin on your arm or any other part of your body doesn't feel the same. That's because you have a thick layer of dead skin cells on the surface of your skin, and this is meant to protect your skin. Just like you make shoes with leather and they are very sturdy, you also have a very thick layer of skin on your body. But the mucous membranes are not thick like this. There's no dead layer of cells on the top layer of the mucous membrane. Skin inside your mouth is called a mucous membrane, and those cells are very soft and they exude whatever is needed in that part of the gastrointestinal tract. So from your mouth down to your anus, there is a tract that's all lined with this mucous membrane. Their function is to, one, exude, discharge mucus, and at the same time to take in nutrition, and it will take in the energy from your remedy as well. So that's why for a baby you could put the remedy on the baby's anus to deliver the remedy, because that is also a mucous membrane. When you make a remedy, you always want to beat the remedy or succuss it the same number of times. You want to be consistent on how you make your dilution bottle. So this remedy inside this person's hand is a dilution bottle. It's this bottle that has been prepared as I described to you. And this is the traditional way of preparing a dilution bottle. Every time you take the remedy, you succuss it. Now, why would you bother to be succussing this bottle? Why? What you want to do is you want to change the potency of the remedy, and by beating it or by succussing it, you change the potency. And this does one thing, that it increases the effectiveness of the remedy, and number two, it avoids overly strong reaction. So it's a very good idea to beat your remedy like this each time you take it. To review, there are 4 steps to taking a remedy. First, you have to make this dilution bottle, and then After that, each time you take the remedy, you succuss it this dilution bottle. The third step is you pour a little bit, a drop, really a drop is enough, into a cup. Now, this is a nice household glass cup, but I suggest you use something that can be thrown away, so you don't have to be thoroughly cleaning off remedies off your household cups. And then after that, you can spray the remedy in your mouth or put the remedy in your mouth. But this person has skipped this step by using his mouth as a cup. So he's drinking some water and then spraying it after it has been succussed. There's so many different possibilities. I don't want you to be mixed up just because I'm telling you how to make things quicker and easier. Now, there's some warnings to make about how to avoid strong energy. Remember, a remedy is more about energy. It's not the physical sugar pellets heals you. It's the energy that the pellets contain. So lots of people run around with water bottles on their hips, and they're actually succussing the bottle. So you don't want to do anything like that. Then another thing is smells have a lot of power. Strong smelling things like camphor or mint are said to antidote remedies, but gasoline and perfume and all kinds of smells could possibly affect your remedy. So I wouldn't get overly anxious about it, but I wouldn't put my remedy in my makeup kit if I had such a thing. But something that has a strong smell, I wouldn't put it in there. I would keep it in as neutral an environment as possible. And the third thing is you want to avoid something strong like sunshine. So on a hot summer day, you would not put your remedy box on the dashboard where it could be exposed to heat as well as strong sunlight. All of these things can change your remedies. Now, the next topic that's related to this is how do you take your remedy actually? How do you make it so that every day you take the remedy as your homeopath instructed you to? First of all, mark your calendar and keep track of it on your calendar. Your homeopath will be asking you about how you felt. I would keep a little note also about feelings so you can take a look at it when you go to your homeopath. Some people can use their phone to do this, but you don't have to be high tech in order to make sure that you can remember your remedies. There's some things that we do every day. We all eat, we sleep, and then we move around. Moving around, doing all kinds of things, is not a good time to take your remedy just because you're going to forget. Moving around is much less routine than eating or sleeping. And I suggest that you set up your remedy taking so you either, if you have to do it 3 times a day, you might have to have it before or after you eat. And some people are very concerned about having their mouth clean when they take their remedy. Remedies are given through the milk of a nursing mother. You can give remedies in juice to children who aren't willing to drink water. All kinds of things are possible. So this kind of purity idea is not quite as stringent as you might imagine. But, keep your mouth clean. It sounds like a good idea. I don't know. There's no research on this, so I can't tell you anything exact. And then before or after you've slept, these are also good times. Some people say don't combine remedy taking and toothbrushing. If you brush your teeth every day, then the mint in your toothpaste probably will not affect you. But these are the kinds of things that are said about homeopathic remedies, and I'm kind of a relaxed person. I like to make things as unstressful as possible. Now, there is one time of day when some of you are going to be taking your remedy or have to take it. If you have to take your remedy twice a day or 3 times a day, you might have to take it at work. Or if you're worrying about something that occurs at odd times, and in order to prevent that from occurring, like a headache or some kind of emergency kinds of things that occur a panic attack while you're at work, then you're going to have to prepare a remedy bottle for your work. And if you're taking it while you eat in the middle of the day at work, then you are also going to need your remedy bottle there. So I would have one at home and one at work. And that seems to work fine. Remedy taking seems like, oh, you just take the remedy and you get well. You're very lucky if your remedy works and you never have to think about it. But often people stop taking the remedy because they don't know how to judge whether the remedy is working or not. Although they might have had the right remedy, they don't take it, and so they don't get the full effect of the remedy, which is a pity. And here's where it really pays to get somebody else to make that judgment for you. I'm a homeopath, and I'm better off asking another homeopath to make judgments for me. Is my remedy effective? It's usually the first few days after taking the remedy when you ask for that judgment call. The telephone is so handy. Just call your homeopath, see what they think. They'll have to ask you some questions. It's not an automatic judgment at all. But the person who has been hearing your whole story and knows you, and also knows about homeopathic remedies, and knows about the remedy that you are taking, the specific remedy you're taking, can make a much better judgment than you could if you don't know these things. Knowing how your story fits into a wide range of people's stories is not that easy. Most of us are not that self-aware. So you're asking the homeopath, is my remedy working? And these are the kinds of things that the homeopath will be looking for. First of all, the homeopath should know the strength of your vital force, and she'll be wondering, is your vital force getting stronger or is it getting weaker? She's not asking, or he's not asking, are you comfortable or are you not comfortable? That's not the criterion. And so that's the place where we all get very confused, including me. Does your vital force affect? It infects your intellect, your emotions, your energy, your general energy, your sleeping and appetite, and it affects responses that could be uncomfortable. Okay, all of these could go in the direction that's comfortable and you feel more comfortable, but they could also go in the direction that's less comfortable. And there's lots of reasons for that, and it's not necessarily true that if you are uncomfortable, then your remedy is not working. So this is a place where you are really asking your homeopath to make a judgment call for you. Going past this, I'm really going to go over some things that only people who are really interested will listen to. So if you're done listening, don't worry. I've told you all of the important things about taking a remedy. Okay, just a few more slides here. So what's a good response to a remedy versus a bad response to a remedy? Homeopaths are they're using a computer database. Okay, the computer itself is a huge database. Then they're also using their clinical experience, which helps them to evaluate your remedy. So their judgment will be based on knowledge of your remedy and your previous experience. Things like suppressed emotions or suppressed body responses, religious ideas, emotions like shyness or fear can suppress your emotions, and your body response can be easily suppressed by chemicals. And then further, the homeopath will be looking at your strength and will to withstand the healing body reactions. Some of the body reactions could be uncomfortable. It's much more comfortable than the uncomfortable reaction of normal medicine. when you're kind of stuck taking medicines that you didn't know you were going into so many different kinds of medicines. That's a very uncomfortable feeling. In homeopathy, that's not going to happen to you. But you might have to withstand your natural body reactions. And if you can't, I'm going to talk to you about a variety of different kinds of responses to remedies. And these are all very permissible responses. And all of these people can work with homeopathy. You don't have to respond in a certain way in order for a remedy to work, or in order to work with a homeopath. Okay, one type of person is a person who just refuses any kind of discomfort. So if their response to, for instance, living their life is to drive themselves all the time and get very little sleep, and then their remedy makes them sleep all the time, then they come back to you and they say, hey, I'm sleeping all the time and I can't get my work done. This is extremely bad. Well, I mean, then you have to, as a homeopath, I have to work with that kind of person. Because even though that person needs sleep in order to recover, at this period when he's first talking to me, he's not willing to give himself the time to sleep, to give himself the time to heal. So I work with that kind of person and work on his refusal to experience any kind of discomfort, such as being forced to sleep. Another kind of person is the kind of person who yields to everybody else. So that kind of person is, of course, yielding to the homeopath. And how they actually feel is not what they express. And so I, as a homeopath, need to figure out how that person is actually feeling besides yielding to me. Because how they feel and their outward appearance can be very different. Then there's a person who genuinely doesn't know how they feel. And that's another way of being, and it's totally possible to use homeopathy when you don't know how you feel, or you can't express it, you just have no idea. And then there's finally another person who doesn't really feel too much of anything, excepting you have to explain what's happening to me. If you can't explain it, I don't want to do this. They want an explanation for everything. And, this is a way of being, and it's perfectly permissible. And it's one response to the healing process. Okay? So these can be, when you look at these uncomfortable responses, these emotions are very important. There's the person who's just totally angry at everything. And, when you work with this person, they're going to be angry at you, the homeopath. And I work with that. That's a response. And if the remedy brings out this anger and more, sometimes I have to just wait it out until the anger comes out and the pressure kind of reduces for this person, this level of anger. Or you have the kind of person who just has no response to the remedy. They don't have any strength to respond. That's another kind of response to a remedy. So this is going to look very different than the person who just has no energy because they ignore their feelings, however they feel, however they're responding. Their way of living is to ignore how they feel. Finally, there's the person who has a very weak immune system. And so when the right remedy is given, their immune system kicks up. And suddenly they have a cough and a cold, and they have all these, temporary illnesses that their immune system had been too weak to respond to up to now. Now the remedy is working, and suddenly they're able to have a fever, to have a cold. All of these things are evidence of a strengthening organism, and they are one response. But this kind of response is not something that's bad. Sometimes we give another remedy to help the person through the cold or whatever is happening, depending on their strength. But I'm giving these examples so that you can see how judgment about how a remedy is working takes some experience and some knowledge. Part of the judgment is based on what you can find in the computer, but a very large part of it is kind of intuitive. You kind of understand how this kind of person is working, and maybe as a homeopath I can't explain it, but I can feel how they are working as an intuitive understanding. Okay, this is Ellen Madono from Tokyo Homeopathy, and I've been talking to you about using homeopathic remedies for the first time. I've got other videos up on my site, and I hope you will be able to look at them, and it will give you some help with your use of homeopathic remedies. Go to this site, Tokyo Homeopathy.